Hi, Michael Force here again with Rise Digital Marketing Mastery Course. We're now on lesson number 13, the art of the headline. A headline is the first thing that anybody reads when it comes to your advertising. So you have to really make sure that you master your headlines and master copywriting on some level. And I'm going to teach you exactly how to do that here in this module. But a headline is incredibly powerful. It's the first thing someone reads. Think of a newspaper. Think of a magazine. Think of all the headlines you've read all over the years since you've been on this earth. Headlines are what pull you in and grab you. And then the whole headline is designed to get you to read the subheadline and then get you to reach the body of the copy. So we're going to break all that down here for you, the science behind it, so you can really understand it and apply it to your business, whether it be passion, interest, or idea you have, or if you just want to promote digital altitude. That is one of the things that can be a huge game changer for your business and your conversions, is mastering copywriting and the headline. So I'm going to break down that here for you in detail, and I'll see you on the inside. See you there. Hello, Michael Force here again. Welcome to lesson number 13 of the Rise Digital Marketing Mastery course. This is the art of crafting a headline. Let's jump in here. Now, what we're going to learn here is how to create headlines, copy, and designs that sell lots of products and services. And we're moving into marketing actions here. This is really the key. Your headline is the ad for the ad. People skim headlines to decide what to read if the headline doesn't grab attention. It's very unlikely that the content will, so people skip it. The headline is literally the ad for the ad. So focus your attention on making it powerful when you have a print ad or something that has the words. Remember, people judge the content of the ad by what's written in the headline. Many, or maybe even most, advertisements that are designed do not have a prominent headline, which is a huge mistake, because people skim headlines to decide what to pay attention to. Your headline has a big job, so give it all the help you can. Headlines make or break advertisements in marketing pieces. Headline writers are some of the highest paid writers of magazine papers and magazine ads. You should invest as much time writing headlines, subheadlines, and bullets as you can. So you're investing in writing copy. So what do I mean here? I mean, a lot of leverage comes when you can focus your time, effort, and energy on those touch points in your marketing process that give you a lot of leverage. There's a lot of leverage to be gained by them where you can make one little turn to the carburetor screw and you can get a lot more power out of it, where you can tweak something a little bit and you can a lot higher response or get a lot higher result, because we humans are overworked, we're over-communicated, we're over-distracted, we're constantly scanning the horizon to see if there's anything that may be of value to us. We're very distractible, and we're just kind of skimming through headlines to see if something makes sense to us. Notice the next time you look at a search engine, the next time you look at a newspaper, just try to watch your own behavior, and you'll see that you skim through and look, and you're just looking from line to line to line. So it goes to show, if there is an ad for an ad, if this is the make or break, that we should put a lot of time and effort and energy into writing the headline. Now, throughout this advertisement, your marketing piece, whether it be sales letter, whether it be a piece of content, even if it's a video, you're going to want to have it what we call subheadlines and bullets. And these are really little miniature headlines that are used throughout to focus on value, to condense what you're trying to say to a short phrase, to really juice up the communication. If you think about the process of refining something to make it very powerful, that's what we're going to do here with your marketing. You're refining all the work done so far by putting it into groups of a few words, maybe 5, 10, 20 words that can be your headline. And this is going to go out and be one of your primary tools or weapons. It's also important to remember that headline writers are different from content writers. So if you look at a magazine or you look at a news website, the people that are writing the headlines are different people that are writing the article. Those are journalists, and they write the articles. And the headline writers are some of the highest paid just for writing the headlines. So why is this? Because they're the ones that are grabbing the attention. So if they're getting paid the most, you should probably realize that you're getting paid the most when you are investing in writing your own headlines. So it's important to use high emotion value words and phrases. Some words and phrases trigger stronger emotions than others. For instance, The word lawyer triggers a stronger emotion in most people than the word attorney. The word fat triggers more emotional response than the word extra pounds. The word belly fat, or even the words fat ass, will trigger an even higher emotional response in most people than just the word fat alone. It's very worthwhile to listen to your customers as you're interacting with them, as you're doing sales interviews and research conversations, as you're surveying them. Listen carefully to their words that they're using. See if you can pinpoint the specific high emotion value words to use in your advertisement and in your marketing. In fact, it's a good idea to start keeping a file of these high emotional value words and phrases so that you can tap into them anytime you need to. So, what are your high emotion value terms? What are the terms that your prospects and customers are using to describe their fears and their frustrations, their wants and their aspirations? What are their terms? What are their phrases? What are those unique ideas, rather, being captured in words that trigger emotion? These are the words you should use in your headlines. Offer the promise of a result, a benefit, or a relief in your headline. As we've learned, people are motivated by results, benefits, relief. So offer these key motivators in your headline or your opening. Your prospect can't hear about their wants, fears, desires, and challenges too much. And also, I want to clarify here that your headline can be considered the big words at the top of your ad, but they can also be considered the first words that you say in a virtual webinar class. They're the first words that you can say in a video presentation, or they're the first words of whatever, or the beginning of whatever you have to say in good stuff like PDFs or articles. If you listen to all of the Beatles' #1 hits from back in the 60s, you'll notice something that most of their #1 hits have in common, that most songs do not, and it is that they take the hook. Okay, whatever the name of the song is and the memorable lyric, the memorable melody, and they start playing it at the beginning. Go and listen to them and you'll hear the hook, the chorus is right at the beginning of almost every single one of their #1 hits. They understood that you've got to get your best stuff out up front. So for you, offer the promise of a result, a benefit, or a relief right up front and use those power words as quickly as you can. So you want to give I want to give you 5 of the most famous headlines that work. Now, these are headlines that are literally world famous that you read about in advertising books and so forth. There's no mythological figures that wrote these, The experts of advertising and the marketing world is really what they are. Many of them have made millions and millions and millions of dollars, sometimes even more, as in sales as a result of some of these headlines. So the first one, how to win friends and influence people. This is not only a headline that was used at the top of This was not only a headline that was used at the top of advertisements, it's also the title of one of the very best-selling books of all time. Sold, when I last checked, over 15 million copies, and was #2 in the Western world only to the Bible. Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People, another famous ad that ran for decades. The headline was, "Do you make these mistakes?" in English. Another famous headline, "How can I improve my memory in one evening?" Another, "How a new discovery made a plain girl beautiful." And then one of the all-time most favorite headlines, "At 60 miles an hour, the loudest noise is the new Rolls-Royce." What do you notice about these headlines? What do you notice about them? One of these things that you'll notice is they pack a lot of punch. If you're reading these headlines, you'll probably want to know what the solution is or what the answer is. So how to win friends and influence people? I want to know how to do that. Do you make these mistakes in English? I think I'm not too bad with English. I'm no master of the language or anything, but I would want to know what the mistakes are I'm making in English. How to improve my memory in one evening. I want to know that. That's something I'd immediately be curious about, so I can improve my memory in one evening. How a new discovery made a plain girl beautiful. A new discovery that equals beauty. What is beauty equal, by the way? Well, to the human chimpanzee, it equals youth, attractiveness, and mating opportunities, reproduction, attracting a better mate. This one's more subtle, but very powerful for what it is in marketing. At 60 miles an hour, the loudest noise you'll hear is the new Rolls-Royce. So what is this suggesting? Well, it's suggesting that is really quiet car, or is it a really loud clock, or maybe something of both, but you get the idea. Powerful for marketing, one of the most expensive automobiles in the world. So notice these offer benefits, they offer outcomes, they offer results. Winning friends and influencing people, when you ask, if you make these kind of mistakes in English, the promise is that you're going to learn what the mistakes are, and then you'll be able to avoid them so you don't look stupid, so that you can sell more intelligently. How to improve my memory in one evening. If your memory is going, or you start to notice that you can't remember things, that's going to call your attention. You're going to want to read that. You're going to stop what you're doing immediately. A new discovery that made a plain girl grow beautiful. By the way, one of the things that I like about these headlines and why I'm using them as examples here is because these are simple headlines. There's no rocket science here. We don't have to use a bunch of fancy tricks. It was nothing sophisticated going on. We can simply ask what is the benefit of the outcome or the result, and that we're promising, and that we formatted it up in the headline that draws the reader in and pulls in the prospect. Something else that's important to keep in mind about your headline is that you need to align and connect your headline to every part of your marketing. One of the biggest mistakes in marketing blunders that I see is the misalignment of a headline, message, and its offer. Consider when going to ask a customer to do at the end that they read whatever your headline is at the beginning over the top and then align your headline with it. Make sure that all parts of your marketing are connected, continuous, and congruent. So we've talked about the stair-step approach to marketing and mentioned to you already that it's important to keep a continuity to the offer. The next step that makes sense for someone who took the step before. Don't continually change the message or change what you're offering. But when I look at advertisements and I look at marketing pieces, whether they be sales, letters, videos, websites, often what I see is a headline that's speaking to one thing off, and ambiguous words, not clear of what it's talking about. Even if it's not clear, but when you dig deeper into the website or go further into the video, you realize that what's being sold isn't quite aligned with the headline. And the person that created it might say, well, yeah, but that's a great headline. And I might say, well, yeah, but that's like saying to someone, here's a map. It's really, really great map, and look at it beautifully. It's designed, wonderful colors. It's easy to fold up and put in your pocket, but then when you open it, it's not accurate. You see my point. Okay, all different locations are in wrong places, like if that was the case in maps. See, I don't want to create a headline that is talking about the thing essentially that you're going to be selling down the road, not about something that's kind of related or that somehow fits. Make sure that it's aligned and it's congruent. When in doubt, start with the words how to. A tried and true formula for great headlines, subheadlines, and bullets. It's to start with the simple words how to. Many best-selling books start with the words how to. It's some you'll see all around when you start to look for them. Add result, benefits, relief, how to, and you're already writing red headlines out of the gates when you do that. So, how to lose belly fat, how to attract someone to get a date, how to get out of debt, how to buy your first home. Take these words, how to, and put them in front of whatever it is you're offering at the end of how to, and you'll probably got a pretty good headline, especially if you're promising results, benefits, or relief. So when in doubt, start with the words how to. I'll tell you, I use the words how to often. They're not something that you just go use and say, okay, now, how to do this or how to do that or how to do this next thing. How to is probably the most important opener for headlines that you can learn, and you should be using it regularly. And unless you come up with something that you know is better, start with a how to, because it forces you to create something that will make sense to your prospect. Now, you also want to reuse your headline powers in your marketing. Headlines are essentially concentrated marketing, power-focused into a few words. You want to reuse this power throughout your marketing in the form of subheadlines and bullets. So every few minutes, if you have a video, every half page to a page, if you're writing long-form sales copy, you want to insert a subheadline That is another powerful promise of a benefit. And later on in your marketing, you want to summarize all of those different results, relief, things that going to offer them a series of bulleted little tiny headlines. So that's one powerful benefit after another, after another. So I would say that at least 20 or 30% of your marketing should be using these headline power and formulas that you're learning to create more headlines, and use these for subheadlines and for bullets. We'll learn more about this in a bit, where to put these and how to use them. But for now, just keep using this superpower that I've been teaching you here, because it's one of the most important things you're going to learn. So put subheadlines throughout your written copy. Put them every few minutes in a video or audio or a live presentation, and have a section in your marketing where you list one bulleted benefit after another after another. What's someone going to get when they invest in your product or service? Okay, so let's do an exercise here. A powerful headline, okay? We're going to practice creating the ultimate marketing weapon here. A powerful headline. First, review your notes to find your strongest emotional motivators. Then consider the benefits of your product or service offers. Finally, use the following formulas to write at least 10 variations of this headline that will grab your prospective customer's attention and draw them in instantly. So, here's a result or a benefit focus. So how to get a result quickly without risk. In an example, how to get out of debt in 90 days or less with this simple guaranteed system. Here's a pain focus, how to eliminate a specific pain without more pain. An example would be how to lose 33 pounds of fat without tortured diets or hard exercise. Here's one that focuses on the situation, if and then specific emotional hot buttons is happening when your worst fear might be true. Example, if you experience lower back pain while sitting, then you may need surgery. Action focus. What to do if the specific hot button situation is happening. So an example is what to do if you notice your husband looking at other women. Customer focus. 10 mistakes that customer descriptions makes in a situation and how to avoid them. 10 mistakes that a customer makes and their situation and how to avoid them. Example, 10 mistakes most men make when approaching women and how to avoid them. The approach focus, so why this is a common sense approach doesn't work and what to do about it. An example would be why diets don't work and what to do about it. And then the magic really comes in. Rarely you get the opportunity to create a headline that's the magic, because someone can actually turn their problem into a benefit. These are just examples. If you had these and they were truly used, they would be very powerful. So how to use your credit card to make money. Or another, how to lose weight by eating more food. Magic is very appealing to people. We all believe that we can find some magic button or pill that will solve problems. We don't want to sell anything that's not true, of course, which a lot of hucksters out there do. So you only want to use a headline like one of these if what you have really works and you can back it up. I want to warn you here, whenever making claims in marketing, never make claims of any kind. They must be true, and you must be able to support them and back them up. And they must not be 1 in a million times. There are laws and rules and regulations that you should check with your legal and business professionals before you make any claims in your marketing. I just want you to know that you need to be responsible for anything that you say, and only say things that are true and things that you can prove. So let's do that exercise. Do those 10 variations of your headline, and I'll see you on the next training. Take care, and we'll see you there.